Hello, hello, and welcome to the eCommerce Redneck Show. Today we have a special guest, straight from Israel, Amitia Sasson, and we are going to be talking e-commerce. Now, one of the things that really got me excited when I met this guy was he has a lot of versatility in e-commerce. So not only is he a store owner and has ran stores for years successfully, he's been involved with the technology. So we're going to get to talk to him, hear about his journey. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump to our guest. Hello. Did I say the name right? Did I get it right this time?
Yes, Jeremy, you
Okay.
did. You did.
Okay.
Thank you so much. You have such an amazing intro. I have to say, probably one of the best e-commerce podcast intros I have seen in a long time. This is psyched me up.
Cool.
Uh,
Well, that song is actually my best friend's band from Las Vegas. So I got lucky with the song for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. Yeah. So I'm calling you straight from Israel, but the company that I run is actually in Wichita, Kansas.
Oh yeah.
So, so that keeps me busy. But yeah, my name is Amitai, and I founded one of the founders of Overstockart.com, which is an online retailer of hand painted art and frames. And we've been doing this for a really long time. Started all the way back to the end of 2001.
Wow.
Um, so we've been doing this for a while. I've been through the ebbs and flows of e-commerce and seen a lot of things. And I wear the technical hat. I'm in charge of all the from the front facing store of the company to all the back end systems that run the operations. We don't have a 3PL. We have our own fulfillment.
Oh wow.
We have a big distribution center that includes also a production line of frames. So we
Mm,
so we actually chop and join our frames. So we have a complete frame shop with saws and underpinners. So
hmm
there's a production line to it as well, and we do it all. And yeah, that's my head. The other side is my brother David, who is the CEO of the company and has been running the company for this time.
Well, very impressive website, and very intriguing system because essentially from a pack and pick standpoint, you've got a system there where you can minimize the size of what you're holding, because you can roll it. I'm sure, however y'all do it,
Yeah.
or even lay flat, I guess. And then you make the frame. So it's like, as long as you have the pieces there, you can put these things together. It just seems like a really great way, that there's a lot of ways in there that you probably perfected, how that all lays out. So tell us a little bit more about Overstock Art and that process, what brought you to that maybe.
Yeah. So Overstock Art, we started off just getting to know this product. We got introduced to this product back in LA in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to find something that would be what we call a blue ocean. Something that
Mm-hmm.
would be because that whole strategy kind of came up back
Mm-hmm.
then. So we were looking for something that's going to be um, inexpensive for customers,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time have a very large perceived value. And that's why we encountered oil paintings. And we started looking at this product. And so we started working with studios. First batch of paintings that we got was in my brother's basement. And then we added on pre-made frames, and we started off with that. And then we completed to a complete production line of framing. And also we built a sister site website called Artist Become or artistbe.com for up and
Mhm.
coming artists as well. So we've been through a long road of this process, and our website we actually is a homegrown website.
Mhm.
But at the time when we started off, we were actually a Yahoo store. I don't know if
Oh
you remember
wow,
that.
yeah, yeah. So when I was at Big Commerce, we made quick work of many of the Yahoo store salespeople, I guess, because it just kind of aged out. So.
Mhm. Yeah, it did, and at the time it was back in 2013 or 14, something like that. Yahoo was also starting to get like, they were thinking to spin off that entire division, Yahoo Small Business, and so we wanted out, and so we had to kind of pick what sort of stack are we going to go after.
Mhm.
And after being in a hosted solution for a long time, we opted, and it was really, Shopify was just starting off. I think BigCommerce, I think, was already there, but it wasn't as it prevalent today. And we were tired of the hosted solution, so we went through something that would be completely custom.
Mhm.
Essentially, we took an open cart e-commerce, which is a very lean PHP MySQL e-commerce.
Mhm.
We sit on a dedicated server, so we have complete control of the server at the time. That was important for us.
Mhm.
And so we went ahead and built an e-commerce that's going to fit into our measures. We have pretty unique needs. And so through the years, we've perfected that. Yeah.
Well, and it's you said something interesting because when I was with Big Commerce, I you know uh, I coached people on how to grow their businesses, right? And
Mhm.
the number one thing that everybody told me was, "Well, you don't understand. My business is very niche." And what I guess my statement here is, well, I'd hope so because otherwise you don't have a market, right? And so, but
Yeah.
very few people actually attempt to basically build a system from the ground up like you did, or have the skill sets to do so. So obviously, a Shopify, a Big Commerce, or other uh, different systems out there. Sometimes they're just an easier package. But what sort of things did you do with this that are really unique? What were some of the unique things that didn't fit in that box that made you say, "I've got to do a custom one here"?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Yeah. So the first and foremost for us, one of the thing is that frames are like an add-on product, but at the same time, they're a product in and of itself as far as the price. I mean, it's a huge investment. It's also a huge switch in shipping costs. Like all of a sudden, like for us, like our internal shipping costs.
Mm-hmm.
So it was important for us to build out a system that would be able to quote those sorts of changes of SKUs that are put together, and at the same time show that to the customer in a way that's not a hack,
Mm-hmm.
in a way that's not trying to do it with JavaScript. We wanted to have it done from the server side, being able to show customers a painting and frame together. So they're going in there. We have a custom frame shop, and they're choosing the frame. They're choosing the size of the paintings. They're choosing wall color to see it on different views. So we needed to create this environment that's going to be that we can completely control.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, that was like the number one thing. But that also creates a lot of different complexities in and of itself. Um,
You
so
open that can of worms and then you get another can of worms sometimes.
yeah, yeah, that's exactly true. And also, we wanted to control the checkout. The fact that
Mm-hmm.
in at the time, right? I mean, we were not able to, to say certain messages on the checkout, or also, the checkout is so important. For instance, for rewards, we created
Mm-hmm.
our own rewards program, so we don't have to rely on some third party doing it for us, and that's been very, very well received. So we're able to build these solutions inside, and then we still have third parties, but we only keep the
Mm-hmm.
essential. third parties
Right.
in our stack. There are things that you can't do without, like reviews. You can't do your own reviews. I mean, you can, but you need to submit them over to Google, and you need a third party search solution. I mean, you can build on based upon your own engine, but you want something that's has fuzzy logic, has that sort of e-commerce experience. So we have a search spring for that, or it used to be Nextopia, for instance. You need an ESP. You can't do without an ESP. I mean, we tried that a long time ago, but that's today in this day and age, there are certain third parties that you still need.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, and I think that, that's key when it comes to building any site is
True.
keeping, I used to actually be in the pharmacy world back in 2004 through 2008 and somewhere in there. And one of the things that we did is go into nursing homes, and we would look at the drugs and the formulas and what they had people on. And they would sometimes have, 10, 15 drugs. Well, the ideal amount was 8 or less. And I feel like that's the exact same thing with e-commerce. You want to keep as many outside sources out of your stuff, whether it's a custom platform or Shopify or BigCommerce or one of the SaaS type platforms, Adobe, whatever it is. You want to make sure that you keep as few possibilities of mess ups happening, and even I've seen it before. I did support at BigCommerce for a while, and I saw where apps on a SaaS system might be perfectly fine, but then if something happens, you've got to track it through the apps. So just even that, you want to keep it as simple as possible, no matter how complex it is. Simplicity is always better when it comes to that sort of thing, usually.
I agree, especially you're seeing these plugins and the impact that it has on your site speed, and things starts lagging, and then you never know what happens on those third sites. All of a sudden you get a 503 error shooting all over your site, and you don't know where this is coming from. Yeah, I hate those.
Well, and I think as we progress, there are certain things that you don't want to build yourself at all. I mean, for instance, one of my favorite plugins for e-commerce or apps for e-commerce is Klaviyo, and for obvious reasons, it's affordable, it's effective, and who the hell wants to go out there and build their own? Build the whole thing from the ground up. So.
Yeah, I mean, Klaviyo is an example of I feel that it's a little bit of that new shiny object, a little bit, because everybody's saying go to Klaviyo, go to Klaviyo. I work with an ESP, and e-commerce, we have this tendency to go after that next thing, but at the same time, I mean, if you have an ESP today, you can probably do things with it just as good as you can with Klaviyo. I mean, utilize more with what you have,
Right.
before you start thinking about moving to a new, a different ESP.
Well, and it also is one of these things where, like here in Texas, people like to take their trucks and outfit them and, put big tires on them, lift them off the ground. And I feel like a lot of times what happens with the brand new store, I mean, first of all, one thing I want to point out, I feel like the day and age of being successful despite yourself in e-commerce is kind of passing, because there's too many people doing it at such a high level that will just pass you up if you're in competition with them. I think it all comes down to what you can use. If you're more technical like yourself, it may be easier to just go, with a different system. I think Klaviyo is one of those systems that you have Shopify, you have BigCommerce, and you want an easy system that works with it. You don't have to get too much into integrations, and it's also responsive. So I would agree with you. Like it
Mm,
also, those products need to fit you because,
yeah.
if you've got, like you said, a bunch of apps and it's slowing down your website, you've got to be
Mm,
cognizant of the whole package. A well sculpted e-commerce experience, it starts with not only the front end but the back end, and then fulfillment and shipping and all those things, and they've got to be tight, and I'd rather have it tight than complicated.
Oh, absolutely. And I think Klaviyo does an amazing job creating those triggered experiences, those kind of evergreen campaigns that have probably the best ROI in e-commerce. I mean, absolutely. I do also like their business model. I mean, as
Right.
opposed to different ESPs where you need to buy, certain like I'm gonna send this year 50 million emails. If you're, the more you get, and then they start playing on the price. With Klaviyo, is what you send is what you pay, and
Mm-hmm.
I like that model much better.
Now you also have gotten into the tech side of things, the services side of things. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, and also what was the journey to
Mhm.
kind of getting you to that place where you saw the need and it made sense in what you were doing.
Yeah. So for me, I come from a software side of things, and one of the things that keeps us going is our ability, because we have 10,000 different titles. We need
Mm-hmm.
to manage this entire inventory, and that was probably, if you're looking at the theory of constraint, that was our biggest constraint, biggest bottleneck. Um, and then we needed to find a way to manage inventory, keep inventory levels low, because you don't
Mm-hmm.
want all your cash sitting in inventory, and availability high. So how do you
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you're doing that? And so we created this system based a little bit on Bayes' law. Bayes' law allows you to come to
Mm-hmm.
conclusions with a very small amount of information.
Mm-hmm.
Some call it the first AI. um, we created a supply chain system that allows us to basically run our business, and be profitable, because we're just our inventory levels came down around 80%, just by utilizing a smart system. So if you're an e-commerce company that has a ton of titles, it's super complex to manage that sort of thing. And so
Mm-hmm.
we made it manageable for us. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like because there's other systems out there I've heard of, like inventory planner and stuff, but it
Mhm.
sounds like this one gets into the supply needed, that sort of thing. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. So it does two things. First of all, we wanted to get away from all the emails and all the Excel files going back and forth with studios that we worked with
Mm-hmm.
to buy the art. So we first just wanted it as a communication tool. So they have a back end side to it, that they love going on there, because they have access, and there's no Excel sheets back and forth. Everybody's seeing, it's very transparent in some ways. And so we've created this bridge with all the studios, and then we were able to start tracking sales that are coming
Mm-hmm.
in to the site. Now, we're not only our website, Overstock Art, we also have partner retail sites. So,
Oh wow.
um, yeah, Macy's, Kohl's, Nordstrom. If you buy from there, you're actually buying from us.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah. So we have, yeah. So we've, so we're driving all this data through our billing, and so we started to map, and you start mapping what's called a dollar a day products. You know how much dollars this product is making you,
Mm-hmm.
and how much inventory is moving on a daily basis, and you start building a model like that. And then we're able to forecast demand, and
Mm-hmm.
we're able to forecast demand with some titles that we have, sell only 3 times a month. Some of
Hmm.
them sell 5 times a year. So it varies quite a lot. So we need to
And it
uh,
recognizes those patterns then.
it
And
rec-
wow,
exactly,
that is cool.
exactly.
And what is the name of the tool again? If
So
no.
so yeah, so we built this because we had an itch, and then we said, okay, this could be a really good tool, and so we created CommunicatorBase, and it's basically a software as a service solution for supply chain, for e-commerce stores that are that have a large set of titles, large
Hmm.
amounts that they need to manage. Those are the ones that are going to enjoy that the most.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, and I have to say, that is one of the biggest struggles. Controlling all of that is a full time job in and of itself. So a tool like this, especially when it comes to tight budgets and limited resources or whatever it might be, uh, this sort of thing sounds like it takes that inventory planner concept to the next level and really gets into a molecular thing that'll help you run your business better. And, you know, I would urge people too, you need to be looking at things like this. If you're in e commerce and you're just going along and trusting the system and just whatever it is, don't blame anybody when you have an empty pocketbook because
Yeah.
there it
Yeah,
takes controls.
we work with this, kind of our strategic planning, the one-page strategic plan. If you're familiar, we also so we have a scorecard that we
Hmm.
review every week with a set of numbers,
Hmm.
and that really is super helpful. Just create some sort of scorecard with top KPIs. How many units out the door? How much was your marketing spend this week? New to file customers, how many new to file customers, and find out what's your new CAC. It's super simple to create those sort of reports. And how much traffic I driven in. And then you start looking at these numbers and understanding what are your expectations and are you hitting those expectations. So yeah, I
Now,
would definitely recommend creating that.
now, do you tie into any of the SaaS platforms, or what are your primary platforms that you tend to work with?
From which for
For,
which
from the app,
from the app, yeah.
communicator base.
Oh, in a communicator base, yeah, absolutely. We work with QuickBooks, so we connect with QuickBooks, or if you want, I mean, to any billing, but really, QuickBooks is the one that we've been working with, and also with CSV file that you can, import
Hmm.
into communicator base, and you create like a file that shows, okay, what are the daily sales in this file,
Hmm.
and you load it into the site. You look at 365 day sales of each product as well. You look at that and you start and you load that file. And then you also load a quantity file. How many I have, the SKUs and the quantity. And that's it. That's all you need to do. And when that information just gets in, you start building a model
Hmm.
uh, based on that data, and you start seeing the graph, and you start making assumptions of how many you need to order. Also, the system starts learning, when a unit was received, and then you can also take into account real production time that it might take, or real order time. So you
Hmm.
need to take that into account, and then you can forecast them. And okay, how much do I really need with all of the days that are going to be extra, and with a certain seasonality and a certain degree of confidence, how many do I need to order right now?
Hmm.
And the nice thing, not only is it more accurate, it's fast. You don't need to have a buyer anymore. You have it all color coded, and it tells you you need to order this from this vendor, this from that vendor. Um, and and yeah, and the vendors get it right away. You can also negotiate prices through it. You
Hmm.
can manage. You can image manage if you need image management. We know what a nightmare that is for
Hmm.
e-commerce. So yeah, so it's pretty
How
neat.
many years have you been using this product yourself and shaping it?
This one is written in blood. We've been doing this. We've been doing this, yeah, since I think we started 2010. We
Oh
started working.
wow.
Yeah.
So you've already been through a lot of the paces on how to make this really fine tuned. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. One of my good friends is Jay Perkins, who was one of the original owners of Kettlebell Kings. And I remember sitting with him. We were both at Big Commerce, and we would have lunch together with two other friends every day. And I remember him sitting there and going, should I sell socks or should I sell kettlebells? And definitely the kettlebell was a heavier order because he had these type of things, the demands and stuff to deal with, then the shipping, and it was more
Mhm.
complex than a set of socks. But you know, I would definitely say if you're trying to find a niche, the type one question I would ask myself if I was trying to find a niche in e-commerce is things like, would this type of product help give me an advantage? And that's where I think you can have an advantage when you have slim margins,
Mhm.
or you're just trying to maximize profitability. So much of that can be put back into R&D and other things if you're watching it right. But it all comes down to the accounting, because if the accounting doesn't work out, nothing works out, right? So
Yeah, it forces you to be organized. Exactly. You need
right.
to put in those GLs. Um, yeah, I mean, if I was starting out right now, I would, this day and age, I think I would think to myself, how can I drive traffic to this site?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way? Because you can't be reliant on ads anymore to get you. It just the cost is just outrageous. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to think, how can I get traffic? If you're able to get traffic with a certain product line, you got a chance. You know,
Mm-hmm.
for us, one of the things that we drive traffic is twofold. First of all, with SEO through the
Mm-hmm.
years,
Mm-hmm.
just the fact that people are searching for Van Gogh, Monet, Renoir. I mean, it's just these keywords are being searched a lot, so we have a ton of keywords that we rank for. And also with the fact that we sell on 20 different retailers,
Mm-hmm.
it really allows us to get traffic back to us, and build a customer base.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have to find ways to get that traffic, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the big question mark this day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, I really enjoyed this call with you. I find you quite interesting. I'm glad we met. Uh, just real quick before we jump off here, why don't you go ahead and plug your sites and let everybody know where they can reach out to you if they're interested in working with you.
Sure. So CommunicatorBase.com, supply chain for e-commerce stores. You can reach me via LinkedIn, or email me at Amitai at CommunicatorBase.com. You can also find us on overstockart.com. That's our website, or artistb.com for up and coming artists. If you want to join our artist community,
Mm-hmm.
it's a win-win model where we create reproductions of your work and you get royalties. And we work with 2,500 artists like that around the
Mm-hmm.
world. So yeah, LinkedIn is the best probably way to contact me. Even that. So.
Awesome. Well, hey, Amitai, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed this call, and hopefully we'll have you on again soon. Okay.
Awesome, Jeremy. It was such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you for watching the e-commerce redneck show. We're so excited to bring this to you, hopefully giving you lots of good information about e-commerce as it relates to you. If you're interested in working with me, simply go to cartconsultant.com and schedule a preliminary call for us to evaluate your needs and see how we can help you. I look forward to doing many more episodes and hopefully being a staple in your LinkedIn and YouTube feed. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Sherman County cutie with a little bit of down home. Likes her lime with a splash of so cold. If you know what I'm talking about. Head on